Okay, when I was in my teenage years, I went to a movie called Fantasia 1. It was produced by Walt Disney, and I suddenly realized that I was kind of unique in that, like Walt Disney, when I heard good music and shut my eyes, I saw colors and shapes. In the first part of Walt Disney's Fantasia, the first beginning of it, the symphony orchestra is playing. It's well-lit stage. You see all the brass and the violins and everything else, and the beautiful music is going on. The conductor is waving his baton. And the light gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until finally the screen is black. And there's nothing there but the music. And it's a black screen, and then all of a sudden there's a bloop, bloop, bloop. Little colors and flashes and masses of color begin to appear in coordination with the music. And this is essentially what synesthesia is. You're converting one sensory input, which is acoustic, into another sensory input, which is visual. And when you think about it, that's not really too bizarre because they're both electromagnetic vibrations. It just depends on how frequent they are. If you've got a very low frequency tone, it's going to be a bass note. If you've got a high frequency tone, it's high, tenor, soprano. And you could say the same thing about color. If you have a low frequency color, it's going to be reds and warm colors. If you go through the color spectrum, the higher the frequency gets, the colors change. So really the two are related. They're very similar. And about 10% of people have some synesthesia.
Yes.
I was aware of it when I first saw Walt Disney's Fantasia. Unfortunately, in order to sell it, he had to put Mickey Mouse doing Sorcerer's Apprentice and fat pink hippos and two toes dancing to Waltz of the Hours or Dance of the Hours. But the idea is that you can convert one sensory input to another, and you can cross them. And when I go to a concert, I shut my eyes. My wife thinks I'm asleep, but I'm not. I'm watching the music. And it adds a tremendous amount to my appreciation of the music. I've met several people who were musicians and played in symphonies that when they saw my paintings said, "Oh, you have synesthesia." Wagner had synesthesia, and when he wrote all that Nazi music, he was visualizing it as colors and shapes as well as the music. So it's a mental change that occurs that really helps you appreciate music. Now, when I do a painting, I'll sit down and I'll turn on my music player, my DVD, and listen to it many times over. And sometimes I listen with my eyes shut and try and see the colors and shapes that are popping up. And then eventually I'll kind of scribble and doodle while I'm listening to the music.
You have your book here?
Yeah. And bring one of the cartoon things there. And I'll do a little scribble on it, and I'll keep changing that and varying it, and I'll listen to the music over and over again. And then eventually I'll do what I call a cartoon, like this, and I'll change it and vary it. The idea of the cartoon is that I can amend it, it's no problem, but I use this as a reference, and I change it a lot as I go along. Then here's another one I did, the same thing. I can't remember. I think this one was the trumpet volontaire. But then I'll eventually get my canvas out or whatever I'm painting on and transfer my ideas from the cartoon to the canvas, and I'll start painting. I use acrylic because I change things so much. I've only done a couple watercolor musical abstracts. That's difficult because I change them so much while I'm painting, and what I may finish with, it may not look at all like my cartoon or what I started with. So it varies a lot. But it's a developing thing, and then I'll finish it, I'll put it away for a while and think about it, and I'll take it out and look at it, and I may change it.
Shapes and everything?
No,
It does vary.
because you have the sound input coming in your ears, and it has to pass through your brain, and your brain is modifying and amending that depending on your mood and your feeling at that particular time. And when somebody comes into a gallery like this and looks at that, they say, well, that doesn't look like Moonlight Sonata to me. No, it probably doesn't. And it may not look like Moonlight Sonata looks for me today, but it did when I painted it. And it's a momentary visual thing, and it varies. The biggest problem I have is music involves another dimension, time. You've got maybe an hour of music, and I have to combine that into a small area, and I have to pick out the prominent things, the prominent tones, the prominent melody, and combine things, and it's an adjustment. I call them musical abstracts, and if you want to talk about different genres of art, you've got realistic art, where you're acting like a camera, or you've got impressionistic art, where the artist is putting a lot into his feeling about the painting, and then you've got abstract art, which is pure from the brain of the artist. Well, this is not really abstract because I'm using an input from the music. So it's really more impressionistic than it is abstract. But I've done realistic art, I've done a lot of wildlife painting and floral painting and landscape painting and all those things. This is really hard. It's much harder than doing a realistic painting. I think all of us can develop some of the skills of synesthesia. If you really concentrate on it, even if you weren't born with that particular trait, you can develop some feeling. Next time you go to a concert, shut your eyes. Don't watch the orchestra. Shut your eyes and try and watch the music. And I think a lot of people can do that don't realize they can. Oh, I was a teenager, I think, when Walt Disney did that Fantasia 1 in the 40s. And I didn't see it the first time it was out, but it's been a long time ago. And synesthesia just means a transfer of input from one sensation to another. If you think of anesthesia, that means no feeling, and this is simply a transfer. And it really isn't a total transfer because you're combining them. But it's very difficult, but it adds a lot to my appreciation of music. And I'm not a musician. I don't play anything. I don't even read music well. And it's just that I like music, and it's part of living. That painting, all that jazz over there, is that's the first one I did, and I'd gone to an abstract workshop. I went there by mistake. I didn't know it was going to be an abstract workshop. And I learned so much at that about abstraction and composition and everything. And that was the first time I did an abstract, and I did it to music. It's been about 6 years. Can I walk around and show you some things? This is Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. It's a piano piece, and when you hear it, you're thinking of a moonlight night, looking up through the blue sky at the black velvet lace trees, and the feeling is one of sort of intimacy and solitude at the same time. And this is kind of what I'm seeing is the piano notes, and then off here you think of, in the distance, there's maybe some stars or some campfires. And to me, the Hallelujah Chorus is the most exciting piece of music I've ever heard. And when I hear it, I get chills. And it's brilliant colors and carries you away. And that's the feeling I get there. Okay, this is Vivaldi's Four Seasons. And if you listen to all of the Four Seasons, the basic music is very similar to all of the Four Seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. And essentially what I did is took the same music and just converted them, mostly with colors, to the different seasons. But again, Vivaldi is this constant pulsating music. So that was Vivaldi. Let's go. Okay, this is Trumpet Volontaire. It's brassy, it's in your face, it's kind of irritating. It's not a relaxing piece of music. It's pow, right? It's really getting out at you. At the same time, there's some beautiful melody there that goes through, but it's brassy, and that's the meaning of that.
All right.
This is Waltz Triste by Sibelius. Those of you who are as old as I am will remember this was the theme song for I Love a Mystery. And that was a radio show that was kind of creepy, mysterious, far out. And so the painting and the music are kind of soft, mysterious, kind of make you wonder what's going on, and it's kind of a slow dance that's mysterious. This is classical guitar, and it's boom, 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 boom. All it's guitar music that is very much in your face, vibrating, and stimulating. And that's why I've made it kind of, it's not a relaxing painting at all. It's kind of in your face, boom, boom, boom. So.
Well, a guitar is a percussive instrument, isn't
that's
it?
right.
Like a piano.
So, okay.
So, thank you, Roger.
Well, thank you for having me, Barry.
Wonderful show.
Thank you for having me here.
All right.